just below the middle of the page, actually about 4 lines below the middle page, Nun. The line begins with umetziut davar. Okay, so what's your question?
I was just wondering how one neshamah imparts its essence to the next neshamah. You say that God is the one that is pushes this process along. So I'm trying to remember.
The neshamah does not create another neshamah. Neshamah comes from Hashem.
How then does the next neshamah come about?
Neshamas are directly from Hashem. What occurs here, what the neshamas can do is draw the neshama down and create a receptacle for the neshama. And not just for the functional element of the neshama, but for the essence of the neshama. But neshamas, every neshama, is a direct representation of God Himself.
You just spoke about functional aspect of the neshama. What are the functions of the neshama? Once they're being drawn down, is that the idea?
Why do you ask this question?
Because it's the first time I hear you speak of functions of the neshama. Functional of the neshama.
We were talking about the neshama joining and giving birth.
Oh. Tipa is associated to that?
What?
Yeah. This is where it is expressed. This is where how it is manifest. I don't want that we should lose focus of what we are talking about. We're not trying to recreate neshamas or figure out how to do it on our own. This is not what we're trying to do. we understand that neshama is an atzmi, what this affects in terms of what does that mean in our seichel, in our conscience. It means that we have an element that is indestructible, that we can face any challenges, and that our function is, our job is to face these challenges and to transform them into neshama quality. Not just to survive. Just like the sun, as we said. The sun does not just illuminate the world, it rules the world. I'm sorry.
Then,
1 second, Sean. I'm calling conference right now. You can stay on this line if you want.
Call them better?
You can hold on this line.
I can call them.
Oh, okay.
Welcome to Ayin. Welcome. At the tone, please record your name followed by the pound key.
Paltiel.
Thank you. To review our participant numbers, 1.
I came him walking in with a question, straight from his hamapil, kavanas. All right.
Slow mo.
Please mute the phone. Please do that. We're all concerned. All right. We are starting. When we start, we're starting from the line beginning umetziut davar, and this is a few lines below the middle of page Nun. Line starts the word umetziut davar. Above that line is a parenthesis. Have it? Yeah. And what we're in the middle of clarifying is that whenever there is a hamshocha that's called oir atzmi, and we already recognize that atzmi is not something that we can functionally explain. There is no reason why there is an oir atzmi, why he wants to do anything. This is a reality itself. And the difficulty that we have with understanding this, among others, and the whole concept, is simply that in our worldly mind, anything that has a function has to have a trigger why it has a function. Atzmi does not have a trigger why it has a function. This is its essence. Like I mentioned the other day, yesterday, Sunday, the question that I put, what it would be the reason that you want to get married? Is there a reason for it? Why do you need the additional responsibility? The answer is not because I'll be bored, I'll have nothing to do, I want to have a company. There is no me without that. A completely different answer. Go and explain that. Why not? And so again, in the world, we don't have means by which to grasp this. This is exclusively a godly reality. This is the meaning, if you want to kind of elaborate on it, of the Rambam. There's a first being. Where is the first being coming from? Why is he there? Because that's the truth. That's the absolute truth. And from this first being comes all truth in existence. And that essential truth supersedes, in terms of its power, in terms of its richness and greatness, any kind of reasoning that you can provide. All right, let's try to continue. So this umetziut etzem, he does not become a mokoi, as he said, meaning he does not cause anything. If anything comes from it, is caused by it, it becomes like itself. It becomes an atzmi. V'chein muva mehamoshol debei hashpoes hanal. And the similar, this will be understood, the similar inyan will be understood from the moshel that we had of the two hashpoes. Two hashpoes are hashpoa atzmis, hashpoa gufnis, hashpoa ruchnis. The two hashpoes, the hashpoa atzmis, where the hashpoa is from the essence itself, not of any functional element of the essence, but the essence itself. Shemizhava mehuz havlad, from which comes to be mehuz havlad, the reality of the blood of the child. Why is it that from the hashpoa atzmis becomes a mehuz havlad, a real entity of a child, of a human being? Lefi, and that is because that the hashpoa consists in the fact that atzmus keach ho'av nishpa, that the very essence of the koyach ho'av is being brought forth, not any functional element. The very presence of the Father is what nishpa in this. Al kain, and thus mizhav mehuz davar mamosh, comes forth a mehuz davar mamosh, a real davar mamosh, a real entity, a standalone entity. Shehadovar hamizhave, and what is this new entity, this new creation? Hu ho'atzmu shel ho'av. It is the atzma shel ho'av. It is not caused by the Av. It is the Av. In contrast, b'hashpoas haseichel, when seichel is being bestowed, harei, so then gam ma shenimtza mizeh seichel etzel hamkabel, even the fact that that seichel is being bestowed and become present by the makabel. Let's learn the full line, and then we'll find what the Rebbe is emphasizing this. Even that which nimtzim is a seichel is a makabel. Even that there is seichel, as the result of that there is a presence of seichel by the makabel. V'hainu, meaning to say, Mashe HaMakabel Mislamed Alei HaHashpor, that the Makabel learns as a result of this Hashpor, Lahaskil Uleischakim Mikol Bar Chochma B'Seichel. The Makabel learns as a result of that to be able to get in and delve in and to comprehend every aspect of Seichel, any aspect of Seichel. What the Rebbe is saying is that by the Makabel, when the Hashpor is HaSeichel, there are two things. There is a certain Seichel, and he's explaining to him such and such. So that clearly, that he's imparting him this understanding. There's no novel creation. He's giving him what he understands. He's letting the Makabel understand, and the Makabel understands exactly the way it's being explained to him. So there clearly he's not creating anything new. But there is another aspect, and that is that the Makabel, as a result of it, can then develop a koyach haseichel, becomes an independent masker. He can understand things that his Rav never talked to him about, never explained to him. And he can actually discern and delve into any davar seichel, which means he becomes an independent masker, an independent mitzvah. Similar, you would think, like a child who becomes an independent entity from the father. So we're saying that is not exactly the case. Even that, but the Makabel becomes seichel independently on his own, and he's able to understand, able to use his seichel to innovate ideas. Harei ein zeh seichel hamashpia. The fact that the Makabel has seichel independent of the mashpia. So you would think that then the mashpia actually replicated himself in the Makabel and bestowed upon him this seichel. You see, he understands things on his own. That is not the case. This is not the seichel of the mashpia. Ki oin seichel shel hamakabel. It is actually the oin haseichel of the Makabel himself. The Makabel, the Talmud, has seichel of his own. The mashpia has some effect on this seichel that enables him to further understand and so forth. But the understanding itself is a manifestation of his own koyach, not the koyach of the mashpia. In contrast to a child, which is actually the koyach of the father, becomes an entity on himself, on his own. The hashpor as hamashpia who, with the hashpor of the mashpia, of the teacher, what does he bestow? Hu rak ma she'oiseh hakiko. It is only that he affects an engraving, hakiko. He engraves v'tziyur in some kind of a form, b'chushi hamakabel, in the capabilities of the makabel. Sheyiya bar seichel, that he should be a bar seichel v'yaskil. He should be a seichel, and he should comprehend be'eifun, in a manner shehorav maski. He directs and he formulates the seichel of the makabel, that the seichel of the makabel should understand things in the same manner, in the same vein, in the same direction, as the mashpia understands things. That's his effect. But not that he gives him the koyach haseichel itself. Aval haseichel, but the seichel itself, harei hu oir seichel hamakabel. But the seichel is oir seichel hamakabel. And that is the difference between Hashpoas Ruchni, Hashpoas Aseichel, and Hashpoas Gufnis in giving birth to a child.
What's the emphasis of or cycle, Shalom Kabul? Why don't you say the cycle, Shalom Kabul?
The koyach haseichel itself is a koyach, is part of his nefesh, and the mashpia does not create the koyach haseichel. The mashpia does not even create the oil haseichel. He only directs the form and the direction of in which direction the oil haseichel would go. But not the koyach haseichel itself. This is why we say that the actual seichel is oil haseichel shalom kam.
What's the difference between a koyach cycle and the oil cycle?
I should have anticipated that.
I was about to ask this.
Very briefly, the distinction is as follows. The first principle to understand is that the koyach haseichel and the oil haseichel, the whole phenomenon of seichel, we always say that seichel is rooted, is representing the higher koyches of kichas makifim of orotzim and noinek shel hanefesh. The koyach haseichel is that koyach that is sensitive to the rotzim and oinek shel hanefesh. This is what koyach haseichel. Just as on a physical level. Okay, you all ready for this? We'll get into it. We have 5 minutes. Just in a physical level. When you touch an object, you say you hit a table, you touch an object. You become aware of the presence of the object. The touching of the object, this is not what makes you aware of the fact that there is such thing as an object. The touching of the object makes you aware of this particular object. But prior to that, there is a physical presence, the physical world. If there were not a physical world, then you touch an object, you would not know what to make of it. What is this? What is this stick here? Where does it come from? There's the reality of the physical world. The stick happens to be in this place and happens to have this form and so forth. But that's already a formulation within the physical world. But what is the reality of it, that there is a physical world? In a ruchnisdike world, there is a similar structure. What makes us ruchnisdike reality? Like we say all the time that to a human being, an insult is more painful than a smack. What's an insult? An insult is an intangible thing. An insult touches his ruchnisdike reality. Where is his ruchnisdike reality dwell? What can be? This is the Ortz and Anoinik. The reason my presence here is not a physical presence, and it's neither is it the neshamah itself. It is my awareness of the neshamah at the level of Ayin and Rotz. And that gives the ruchnisdike presence of the human being. I want to be a human being. Therefore, if you insult me, you are diminishing my human status. It hurts. Because the inner of being a human being is something which is essential in my nefesh, in my koiches. Remember we said, what is the primary want of a human being? It is to be a human being. Not just to be, but to be a human being. If you insult, you are hitting me just like you hit me over the head. Physically. Well, this is on a spiritual level. Who is aware of this koyach? This is the koyach ha-seichel. Koyach ha-seichel is aware and says that, and sensitive to the fact that my real presence is on this ruchnisdike level. The seichel does not make me into a human being. Seichel makes me sensitive, conscious of the fact that I'm a human being. You got the point? The rotzin is what the human being, the human nefesh is. You have a person that you can insult and he's not responding, he's not sensitive to. Why? Because his seichel is not alert, it's not developed to sense what the insult is about. He still has a nefesh, but it hasn't translated to the level of seichel.
The receiver, you said, or the doer?
The receiver.
Right.
So
That's the koyach ha-seichel or the aura?
Oh. Koyach ha-seichel, that is the ability to sense the koyach makifim. And what is actually sensed comes in the form of oyer ha-seichel. Which means that when you actually sense it, even though it's a kind of speaking about the Rotzen and Noinig, but it's speaking Rotzen and Noinig in a form, in a seicheldike form. That's called Oir HaSeichel. Now we have to interrupt till tomorrow. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Cool.
See your cell phone
The
laying on the table?
koyach HaSeichel is different between each person, or the koyach HaSeichel is same?
No, the koiches on is different.
Even on the koyches level, it's different.
Yeah.
Just the ability to be able to sense, and then
Yeah,
But
the
the-
koiches are different.
the Rav works with the Or HaSeichel.
Right. Yeah. The koiches, that has to do already with kind of group he has. The edel the group, the more sensitive is the koiches. And so forth. That has to do with the group, but it's reflective of the nefesh, of the what's in the
The Rav can only work with the
With the
material,
oil.
with the material that he's given, the material that's there.
right. He can only work with the oil.
Or HaSeichel.
He can, as we said, through oil choizen, he can touch the koyach HaSeichel itself. Remember that?
Yeah.
By challenging him, by hitting him hard. Why do you have to get married? He begins to think on a level that he never thought. He's insulting him. He's doing him a favor.